Well, thank you. Cecilia, I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Thank you. I also feel like this is a dream because it's my honor to be
Oh,
with
thank you.
both of you, really. So a little bit about my work. I'm a philosopher and an educator.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, but I have developed. We started about 30 years ago. My husband and I developed a movement called Socrates Café. And it's just people getting together and discussing kind of through Socratic inquiry, a
Mm.
method we developed, um, just philosophical questions. And um, I wished 30 years ago I have known about polyvagal theory. Um, because I've seen this. I've seen like, our groups are all about safety, like
Mm.
listening to one another with respect and things like that. And so, I see, I've developed a model, an educational model with three pillars that I see here, right? It's just like the nervous system, which I see um, the protocol you have developed for the music, and then I see the body, all that we somatize and how it comes up in, in how we not just how we relate to one another and how we express ourselves, but also in illnesses and unbalances. um, but then I'm thinking about so much of the population, not just post COVID, all of us trying to re-entry society. And right now it's a mess. There's wars, there's
Mm.
so much violence, and here in Mexico, feminicides and abuse toward children. Um, but I'm also thinking about, like, for example, so many people in jail, and so many of them in unjustly. And how do we re-entry society? Kind of like, okay, yeah, our bodies, coming up a little bit better through the movement and the music, for our nervous system, and then we find one another. Just pushing in airports or just being rude. And um, so that's like the part that I'm puzzled about. And now,
Well,
anything that
I
you have
don't
to
I
say.
don't think it's puzzling. I think society is being okay. Remember the movies, The Matrix?
Yes.
Okay, so let's change the composition of the matrix to threat cues. We're bombarded with threat cues all the time, whether it's on television, whether it's schools, whether it's going to the doctor's office or going into an airport, like you described. We are bombarded with threat cues, and our bodies are overwhelmed with it. It's not that we don't do well with threat cues. It's that we need some time off from the threat cues. So we need, like the cafe, we need that the Socratic inquiry community. You need a place to be safe enough to give up the hypervigilance, to allow the physiology to calm down, and for the literally the love and curiosity and connection to express itself. Then we do well. We don't need it all the time, but we need sufficient, let's say a couple hours a day. Uh, so the issue in most people's lives is they have let's say, an 8 to 4, 8 to 5 day of dealing with people that keep them in states of chronic threat. Then they go home, and if they have kids, the kids create the same problem again. Now the wife says, has her work, or if she's at home with the kids are driving her nuts. And so it's not like the home becomes a safe place. So you have this compounding, and we need to do better in structuring how we live our lives. It's like we need to restructure schools. Schools need play. They need a degree of social interaction and play. It's not learning, it's state regulation that is killing our society. People are not having opportunities to regulate their physiological state.
Yeah. I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Cecilia.